Product listings are now more complicated and competitive than ever. AI is incorporating heavily into the average person's life now, and their experience on Amazon is definitely very influenced by Amazon's own AI system called Rufus. This, alongside important keywords and images, makes the customer experience far better in finding exactly what they're looking for. It feels complicated as the seller because there's so many things to optimize for. This video is a full tutorial on how to create the best possible listing that's specifically designed to increase the likelihood of Amazon's AI recommending your product to their customers. And we're also going to use ChatGPT to write high-level copy and incorporate marketing psychology. First, I'm going to lay out what Rufus, Amazon's shopping assistant AI, is for the customer so we can reverse engineer our listing to be designed towards it. Then we'll go into the following. What Rufus, Amazon's AI, considers when recommending products to customers, optimizing your listing images for Rufus, content for your listing bullet points based on data Rufus uses, using ChatGPT to incorporate customer language and psychology, and then finally putting it all together by using ChatGPT to write your title and bullet points. My name is Zain, and I'm from SellerMetrics. We help Amazon brands scale profitably. So, customer shopping experience has improved and changed since the start of 2024 to now, which is when Rufus was first released. AI is incorporating into Amazon, and here's how it's designed to help customers and shape their experiences on Amazon. First, it helps customers through product purchasing decisions. For example, they can type in what to consider when buying headphones or what are clean beauty products. It helps them understand what kind of products are available to them in specific categories that they're looking for. It can also help customers shop by an occasion or purpose. For example, I'm going to go hike where it's either really hot or really cold. What items would I need in these two different hiking scenarios? So if they're going to hike in maybe the mountaintops or whatever, they would look for what they need for hiking in cold temperatures. But if they're going to go hike somewhere that's more deserty or just more temperate, they can type in what do I need to hike when it's really hot, and it will give them suggestions. It also helps comparing products within the same product category. For example, questions like what is the difference between drip coffee machines and a French press, and what are the situations you want one over the other. It can also help with general recommendations like what are good gifts for Father's Day or Valentine's Day or Mother's Day. You guys get the idea. And lastly, and one of the most impactful questions about specific products on the detail page. You can ask things like, is this jacket washable, or is this wirelessly mouse chargeable, or does it need batteries? So it's like basically having a shopping assistant that you would at a regular store, except this shopping assistant knows everything about all the products, and you don't really need to ask, can you check in the back? Now, given how impactful this AI is for shoppers and how it's going to only get further incorporated and improved, let's design our listing for this. This is from a past video I did that we're going to jump into. It goes over the general rules of the front and back end of product listing when designing it for Rufus. And by the way, guys, you can get a document in the description that has a list of all the tools used in the prompts for GPT that we're going to use in this video that you can always copy and paste and then tailor it to yourself for your product and your brand. But without further ado, let's get into the first part of optimizing your product listing for Amazon's AI, Rufus.
So think of it like this. To a customer, Rufus is an AI assistant that helps them find the products they want. But to a seller, or to you, Rufus is the customer persona that you want to optimize the listing for. And not only is Rufus operating as the AI assistant, but it's also the same algorithm that shows suggested products in the homepage suggestions. So optimizing for Rufus is going to give you a huge competitive advantage in 2025. So let's discuss what to change on your product listing, starting with common sense relations. There are 12 relationships of what the product can do, and I'll put them on the screen, and you have to basically incorporate these in your product description and bullet points. And just before I put them up on the screen, if you like this kind of content, guys, make sure you like and subscribe. All right, so these are the 12 common sense relationships. What is the product used for? Used for an event, used for audience, capable of, used as, is a, used on time, for example, on holidays, used in, for example, on in outdoor use, used in body, so if you have something for, say, sensitive skin, used with, works with Bluetooth and phone, for example, and user desire, so this is more about the customer, and user interest, again, more about the customer. So I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm selling a baby monitor. Here is how I would answer these questions. It's used for remotely monitoring your baby, used for an event, useful when babysitting, used for an audience, for parents and babysitters. Pretty straightforward, right? The reason you are doing this is because you're giving Rufus information on the context of the product and its relationship with use cases. So when a customer searches baby monitor for babysitter, my product is more likely to be recommended by Rufus. So to summarize, weave these common sense relations into a well-written copy for your product listing and description. Next, let's talk about the backend attributes to update so Rufus can attribute more specific things to the product when considering a recommendation to the customer. Put simply, these are hard facts about your products. For example, color, size, material, etc. We're going to use a spreadsheet template provided by Amazon to optimize for this. So I'm going to show you on my screen how you can get this spreadsheet. So what we need to do is acquire a flat file for the spreadsheet. Basically, what we need to do is go to Amazon Seller Central. So here we are. At the top left, click the 3 lines, go to Catalog, and click Add Products. Once you're at Add Products, you should be on this page. And at the top right is Spreadsheets. So this little pop-up comes up to show you how they've changed the UI a little bit. This actual page was accessible from a different spot on Amazon Seller Central before, and this pop-up is just basically telling you the change. So anyways, you can click Do Not Show Again if you want, and then say, okay, got it. So then this comes up. It gives you an opportunity to upload a spreadsheet, or you can download a blank template. So we want to click Download a Blank Template. Here, a little pop-up comes up, gives you different opportunities or different options for the type of template you want. And then basically what we want to do is click Update Product Details and get Product Template. Then it gives you what this can apply for. And in the second bullet point, we're going to click this product template. Then this product spreadsheet comes up. So basically what we want to do is click language English, or if you're using a different language, feel free to click that. And then we want to type the category in which our product is selling. So let's say baby monitor, like the example I said earlier, and here is what comes up. If you don't think that this applies to your product, for me it does, baby audio visual monitors. So that for me very much applies, and the category would be security cameras. We can get more specific. So you can browse by via product category. And if you come up, basically you have to manually go down into the category that you're looking for. So if I were to do this for baby products, I would just go baby products. I would go down to safety, then I would go down to monitors and video monitors. Here it is, and select. So that's how I would do it if this didn't apply to me, but it does. So we're going to click select and then scroll down and then select the stores where we want to create these offers. I'm only selling in Americas, but you just click wherever you're selling. So, and then what we do is click generate spreadsheet. And once you do that, you will have downloaded this Excel sheet, which is a very big, daunting looking spreadsheet. Don't worry guys, we're not going to go through all of it. You don't need to go through all of it. We're just going to skip ahead to the part that is actually relevant, which is the tab here that says valid values. So here in valid values basically is a big colorful spreadsheet of all the hard facts about your product. In the B column is the specific fact that you're looking at. So you can be item type, color map, size, and so on and so forth. And it's going to be different stuff for your product based on what category your product is in or what kind of product you're selling. But it's really important that you go through this and actually manually update it with more details. So I'll give you an example. For my baby monitor, if I go to item type, it comes up as a dome camera, bullet cameras, baby audio visual monitors, and pet cameras and monitors. So this right here, pet cameras and monitors, really illustrates the point of why you need to manually update this to be more relevant to your product. So yes, it is a baby monitor. However, it's still at the end of the day, a video monitor that you can monitor things remotely with. And you can monitor pets, not just babies. But what you can also do is type in security camera or outdoor camera, etc., etc. And basically you just go through all of these and make sure you update it accordingly. There's a lot of factors in here that may not necessarily be something that the customer is looking for. For example, I have compliance details. I do have to include batteries in this, so I have to be compliant in that. Now, that doesn't really necessarily help for your customer search values because I don't think a customer is going to be searching for a specific type of battery. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't, I don't know. But the point is, for the things that they actually do care about, like dimensions, discovery for colors, and the type of product it is, make sure you manually update it with all of the things that you think your product applies for. Then all you have to do is save it, and then we're going to go back to this page and upload the file that we just did. And that's it, guys. That's how you can optimize for these two factors. One is very much customer facing, which is optimizing for product listing and description. And one is back end facing, something that the algorithm can look at and be like, oh, this is what applies to the product. So therefore, I'm going to suggest this to the customer. And that's it for this part of the Rufus series. Rufus actually considers a lot more for the customer, like the product listing pictures as well. And I'll cover that in part 2 in the next video.
That covers the general design of your Amazon listing copy. This will help Rufus recommend products to customers for categories, purposes, and comparing products. Now let's move on to images, which is, next to reviews, arguably the most important thing on an Amazon listing. Amazon AI will review images and suggest products based on its match with the customer's recent history and interests. So if a customer is looking for kitchen appliances and you're selling a toaster oven, if the image is good, then Rufus can suggest it to customers. What Rufus does is it scans the images and assigns a confidence score of how much it matches a customer's interest, and based on the score, it may suggest your product. The higher the score, the more likely it is to suggest. Let's get into more detail on how you can influence your listing directly here.
So let's get into it. Starting with Amazon AI recognition. Amazon has AI recognition they use to analyze your images in their effort at recommended products to their customers. This tool can be accessed by signing up for Amazon Web Services. AWS costs, but I do have a free tool for you guys at the end of this video. But this is the Amazon recognition tool, pretty comprehensive actually. It can do so much stuff. It has integrations with the APIs. It analyzes your images in so much detail. Face liveliness, face detection and analysis, text detection, custom labels, like so many different things. But basically, here's what it does. So let's say you have your main image. It analyzes that image and it gives it a confidence score based on this percentage here. So as you can see here, it analyzes this image and it sees that there's a female, 100%. It's smiling, or she's smiling rather, 100%, happy, 97.4%. And that confidence interval, or that's confidence score, is the AI's assessment of what it thinks the image is and reflects how likely it will recommend the product to its customer. So here is another example. So by the way, guys, these slides were actually shared by Matt Costin from productopinion.com. I highly recommend you check him out. He has some great services for Amazon sellers, but shout out to Matt Costin here. Anyways, so this is an example of a passport and card holder. And here is Amazon Web Services or Amazon Recognition reviewing this card holder and coming up with a confidence score of what it thinks the image is. So it's got accessories at 99.8%, text at 98.3%, passport at 82.5%, credit card 66.9%. And it's pretty accurate. I mean, that is basically what this image is. But notice how in this image that the text is actually kind of covering the product itself. If we move this text up, like this, now it's not covering the image, every single confidence score goes up. So I'll give you an example. So here, the wallet is 71.2% when the text is covering the product. But here, when the text is not covering the product, it is now 72.5% instead of 71.2%. Similarly, passport went from 82.5 to 84.5. And same thing with wallet and so on and so forth. All of this added up to roughly about 11% more confidence. And this increase in the confidence score may result in Rufus recommending your product over the competitor's product. By the way, guys, if you like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe. Okay, so let's move on to some image hacks that you can implement right away. So first hack, make sure that you are using the proper avatars as your target market. Amazon Recognition reviews the avatar as well and assesses it. And as you can see here, it reviews it right down to the emotion. So here's a brand that has two people in the image, and it does a really good job of assessing what the image is of. So it looks like a face, 99.9%, it got that 100% correct. Appears to be male, yes it is. Age range, 28 to 36 years old. I'd probably agree with that too. Smiling, 80.4%. Appears to be happy, 99%. And even more than that, like it gets into a lot of detail right down to the emotion. So it's highly effective. So what that means is you need to use an avatar that really represents your target market. So if you're selling, let's say, golf products, it makes sense to use an upper middle class male, probably 30 years or older, and so on. Or if you're selling gaming products, use an avatar that's maybe of a teenager or early 20s wearing, let's say, a sweatshirt or a headset or something like that. It also recognizes text too. So even if the text is not legible to the actual viewers, so for example, there's some text down here circled in yellow, and in that text it says perfect for Apple fanboys. Now, this product, in my opinion, doesn't really have anything to do with Apple, but nonetheless, it might have some correlation based on the market research done, and it's kind of hidden. So I, as the customer or the viewer, can't actually read it, but AWS or Amazon Recognition recognizes it immediately. So in theory, and this is speculation, guys, I'm not sure this is 100% correct, you can secretly put in words that are relevant to Rufus and your target market, and the viewer won't see it, it won't clutter the image, and the AI will be able to recognize it and kind of use that in its assessment of what's in the image. Again, speculative, I'm not entirely sure that is 100% effective or accurate to do, but it does recognize text that even the viewer cannot see. But nonetheless, make sure the really relevant text is very clear. Notice how the P is covered in this passport text, and what does it review the text as? Well, it reviews the text as passport without that first P. I will let you figure out what that sounds like. Don't want to get flagged by YouTube, but that is basically what it's doing. And what ended up happening is that because it doesn't see passport as the text, it doesn't review it as the word passport, which may influence its ability to assess the image properly. Now, AWS does cost money to use, but I'm going to give you a free tool to accomplish the same thing. So the free tool I have for you is called imagecheck.com. It's actually from Product Opinion as well. So once again, shout out to Product Opinion and Matt Costin, who is the founder and CEO of it. The link to Image Check will be in the description below. So this is the image check. So basically, I'm going to show you what it looks like. So you browse your files and you want to upload an image that you want to audit it. So this is an image of a grill. This is an Amazon main hero image, and let's find out how well it does at recognizing what it is. So we're going to do item detection, and as you can see here, really high level of confidence for our barbecue, cooking, food, grilling, cooktop. Well, cooktop is pretty low. It's 60%, but I honestly don't really think that cooktop is as accurate of a product description as barbecue is. So I would say that this is pretty good. Electrical device, yes. Appliance, yes. A meat and steak, it gets it all. It's pretty good at what it does. Let's try another one with text this time. Okay, it got the items down pretty well. There's a burger, it recognizes that. Food, barbecue, cooking, grilling. I'm surprised it said brunch, but that's still relevant though. People might be searching the keyword brunch, and it's a good way to actually get ranked for something else other than directly what the product is. Meal device, electrical device, appliance. Toaster is actually incorrect. So this image is pretty good, I would say. So it is showing up for toaster, but unfortunately that is not going to be relevant to this picture for the customer, because no one accidentally types in toaster when they're looking for a barbecue grill. At least I don't think they do. But nonetheless, it is pretty accurate at what reasons out the image to be. And it's got a pretty low confidence interval for toaster, so you're probably not going to be recommended for the keyword toaster by Amazon recognition for people looking for a toaster. Let's do a text in this. So it gets the text down pretty much perfectly, right? So this word right here is sizzle. It got sizzle here. Experience the sizzle. It's all right there. Honestly, all of this is completely correct. It got everything right on this, and I think text is probably one of the easier ones for it to do. But I want to show you where sometimes the Amazon recognition services can be fooled a little bit. So I'll give you an example of that. So this is a children's stroller, and we're going to do an item detection. So yeah, it gets that it's a stroller, but it also thinks with very high confidence that it's a lawn mower. It's obviously not a lawnmower. You definitely don't want this thing showing up for a lawnmower by Amazon recognition services. So it's quite possible that maybe this image can change. How do you change it? Well, this image doesn't have product packaging on it. If it did, maybe that would influence the way the Amazon Web Services or Amazon recognition tool would assess it, or maybe a different angle of this image. But you got to play around with it to make sure that it gets reviewed properly. Now, this is the free tool, so I do want to kind of put this caveat in that maybe it's not as effective at Amazon recognition itself. Obviously, Amazon is a very powerful company that has the best developers possible, and they might just have a better tool, and it may not confuse this for a stroller. So play around with the image a little bit, take different angles, try product packaging, and just include things to make sure that Amazon Web Services or Amazon recognition tool gets a very good understanding of what your product image is. So this was part 2 of optimizing for Amazon's AI recommendation tool, Rufus.
So we've covered general and back-end considerations and images. Let's get more specific towards what content to actually put into your listing copy. Since Rufus is constantly updating itself to recommend products to customers based on their interests and preferences, it considers common questions asked by consumers about products. Let's get into the specifics and details in here.
The Rufus technology, the AI tool, is very interesting. An interesting post was made by an Amazon scientist explaining how Rufus is programmed to suggest products to its customer. And this is the blog post right here titled "The Technology Behind Amazon's Gen AI-Powered Shopping Assistant Rufus," written by Trishul Chilimbi. And Trishul Chilimbi is this gentleman right here. He's a VP and distinguished scientist at Amazon, so obviously had a hand in programming Rufus, the AI technology. And it's a very comprehensive AI that is intended to be programmed to answer customers' questions about products that its data training set hasn't included. So I'm not going to go through this entire blog. I just want to go over one small part. Okay, so using RAG to surface well-sourced answer. Just a quick explanation of RAG. It is basically how the AI Rufus basically obtains the answers to the questions that customers might answer and where sources of those answers come from. To answer the vast span of questions that could possibly be asked, Rufus needs to be able to go beyond the training data and use information it hasn't seen before. That's where RAG comes in. Before generating a response, the LLM, large language model, first selects information that may be helpful in answering the shopper's question. But how does it know which information to choose? Rufus pulls information from sources it knows to be reliable, which is where you guys should be aware of, or what you guys should be aware of rather. Customer reviews, the product catalog, and community questions and answers, along with calling relevant store APIs. So in particular, I'm just going to repeat that. It obtains data from customer reviews, product catalog, and community Q&A, question and answers. And before I go on to that, if you guys like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe. So if you've been a long-time Amazon customer yourself, you may recall that Amazon products used to have a question and answer section. This is where people basically basically ask questions about the product that the listing may not cover, or wanted the opinion of people who bought the product already. Say, for example, you're selling a baby stroller. Someone could ask in the Q&A, is this stroller also good for puppies? Because they don't actually want to use it for a baby. Yes, especially if you live in North America, strollers are definitely used for baby animals as well, kittens, puppies, and whatever else. Anyways, this Q&A section is effectively replaced entirely by Rufus. And here is an example of the Q&A. So here's just like a random product that I found on Amazon. It's a watch box. It's a watch case to hold watches. And if you scroll down all the way to just before the customer reviews, this guy right here, looking for specific info, this is asking Rufus or the AI the question you might have. And then it obviously suggests a couple of common questions for this product. And this can apply for any product, any industry, or any listing that you have on Amazon. Customers now have access to this, and even more relevant on mobile. So the question is, how do you program or how do you prepare your product listing for this incredibly high-tech, latest and greatest technology right here, which is known as Rufus? So it's pretty straightforward. Make sure your listing answers these questions that are listed here. Now, what if you don't know the questions your customers might be asking? Simple. Go to your competitor and see what they are asking for them. So this is a product that already gets sales, the one that I have been showing already. But if we go to their competitors, which is these guys right here, it is their competitor, but it's obviously a very premium version of them, because this one is $97 and this one is $20. So obviously very different, but I think that's actually a good way to get better questions to identify what to program your listing for. So we go to this and we scroll down, we go to the same section, looking for specific info. So does the lock keep content secure when traveling? Does its glass display top provide UV protection? Are compartments large enough for oversized watches? Is its exterior resistance to scratches and smudges? And so on and so forth. And basically, it's very, very simple. All you have to do is make sure that your listing answers these questions. Now, it seems like if we include all of the learnings that we had from the last few videos, and I'll link those in the description as well, but there's a lot to pack into the description or the bullet points. But this is where like product description and bullet points really comes in. And it's pretty straightforward. All we basically want to do is keep asking questions. Now, you are allowed to ask questions to it itself, just ideas that you might come up with, right? And it actually takes anyone's questions and it programs it into its suggestions and its recommendations to customers when suggesting other product listings to people who use Rufus. And I really do think this is the future of how people look for products, guys. AI is big. Obviously, we know that already. That horse is going to be beaten dead, but I really do think that we need to optimize for the AI more than anything before, more than keywords even. Obviously, keywords are still hyper relevant because AI uses keywords, but this time now we need to answer specific questions rather than include specific keywords.
Now we have a fairly comprehensive picture of what needs to go into a listing. General considerations, image requirements, and copy that revolves around customer questions. A quick aside, all of this is really relevant to PPC, and we can help you out like this. If you want to learn more on how you can optimize Amazon PPC, you can get a free copy of our ebook, The Ultimate Guide to Amazon Ads, Advanced Tactics and Best Practices. This book has received a 4.8 out of 5-star rating on Amazon and has helped beginners and advanced sellers alike. Click the link in the description below to sign up to our emailing list and receive a free copy. The next component really adds the 4D chess element of Amazon listing, the art of Amazon listing to get ahead of your competitors, using your customer psychology to resonate with them and increase likelihood of purchase. More specifically, we're going to use the same language that your customer uses to describe your products or similar products. This is a high-level selling technique that requires more work, but with the tools available today are so very possible. So here's how you can do this.
Psychology has become more of a business advertising profession than an MBA itself. Multiple studies have been conducted to determine how language shapes the customer satisfaction and purchasing behavior. Ultimately, the main takeaway is using language and terms that are familiar and specific to the customer significantly boosts customer satisfaction and thus are more willing to purchase and purchase more. These studies were conducted by analyzing thousands of customer representatives and customer interactions. In theory, you could do the same and optimize your listing with the correct vocabulary and language, but you likely don't have the capital or the bandwidth to conduct a research study to acquire and analyze all that data for your brand. But in this video, I'm going to show you how you can in fact do the same for your brand and product listing at very low cost. What we're going to cover is how to acquire the data of how your customers speak about your product from customer reviews, and to how to analyze it to implement the language into your listing using ChatGPT. Let's start with how to acquire data. So earlier I said the studies were conducted on thousands of customer interactions and it would be very difficult to get that kind of data. But as a matter of fact, we already have that data and it comes in the form of customer reviews on your product listing. You might be thinking it would take forever to read through the customer reviews and identify commonly used words. And it normally would, but not with modern technology. So first, let's talk about acquiring the data. We're going to data scrape product listing pages of the reviews. If you're a programmer, note I am not, you can write a SQL quote to do so. However, I'm not a programmer, I'm assuming you're not either, so I use an online service called Octoparse. We're not affiliated with Octoparse in any way. There are also other services that do the same. I just found this one to be the easiest. Okay, so if we go to octoparse.com, this is what it looks like. It's an easy web scraping tool for anyone to use. It doesn't require any coding, and basically all you really have to do is link the product listing link into the software and it'll do all the work for you. But basically log in, download it, it'll walk you through that, so I'm not going to go through it. But when you open the program, this is what it looks like. And if you go to the task list or the templates, you can type in Amazon review, and basically you click this one, Amazon review scraper, and you can basically just put in the ASINs for which you want to retrieve the information from. So in this section, you would put in your ASIN of your product listing. I'm going to do this guy right here. By the way, guys, if you don't have enough customer reviews on your product listing, you can actually just use your competitors' listings as well. Because you're selling a similar product, their customers likely value the same kind of things as they would for your product. So this is the product I'm doing. It is a leather watch box with valet drawer. It's for people to store their watches. It's a very cool product, and they have 1,999 ratings. And if you had to manually go through all of these reviews, it would take forever. Luckily, we don't have to do that. So all we want to do is basically copy their ASIN, which is in that right here, copy, and we go back to Octoparse and we just paste it here. And you want to actually do this for a couple of listings all at once of the same product. You can use your listings and your competitor's listing both. And all you really have to do at the top right is press start after you have picked the date that you've done it, which is today, and basically fill all these things in. So press start, and it'll spit out this Excel sheet. So on this Excel sheet, it'll have a couple of columns. Pretty straightforward. It is the product name, which is of the listing that I showed you, its URL. It has other things like the ASIN, the username of the customer reviewer, and the rating that they gave the product. But most importantly, this is the column that we want, review content. This is the actual words and review that they left on the product. So the next step is to actually review this content and identify the most commonly used words so that you can then implement those in your own listing. And we're not going to do that manually. We're going to run this through ChatGPT. So I've already done it for you, and we're going to walk through it. Unfortunately, the prompt is a big wall of text. I normally don't like going through a big wall of text. It's not exactly exciting to watch, but it's necessary in this case. And by the way, guys, if you like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe. So here we are in ChatGPT, and this is the prompt I used. You are an expert product market researcher for the brand Gilded. Your role will be to conduct sentiment analysis and feature extraction on Amazon product reviews that I will provide in an Excel spreadsheet. Gilded is a brand that focuses on creating luxury storage solutions for clothing and accessories. Specifically, we focus on items such as watch boxes, jewelry boxes, travel cases for accessories, etc. I'm looking to optimize my product listing on Amazon. This includes the title, description, and bullet points. I would like to emphasize the traits of the box that customers generally prioritize. I would also like to use the same language as the customers that leave the reviews. Your skills will be used to identify the sentiment towards the product as a whole, and in particular, identify the sentiment towards any comments that mention the box in a positive or negative light. Additionally, identify the words used to describe the wood and or box. This knowledge will help us craft the optimal marketing message to be used in our product descriptions and advertising. And before providing you the data set to conduct the analysis, do you have any questions or requests and any more information to do your job better? So that last part there, guys, is incredibly important. It will help you improve your prompt skills in general across anything you might want to use ChatGPT for. Before you actually ask it to give you an answer, always ask it what more information it needs to give you a better answer. So that's another small hack that you can use when using ChatGPT anytime. Okay, moving on. So it asks me all these questions so that it can do a better job of giving me an answer. It asks me things like product context, target audience, review sentiment. Should I only focus on 5-star and 1-star reviews for extreme sentiments, or analyze all of them? I told it to analyze all of them. The language used, just English, competitive insights, and delivery format. I'm not going to go through this in detail, but answer the questions as I did here. And then I still ask it, do you need anything else? I want it to be sure that it has everything it needs to give me the proper answer. It did ask me more questions. It asked me about the file format, key focus areas, and insight deliveries. For example, would you prefer that I highlight opportunities for differentiation? I chose not to, but you can if you want. Anyways, I tell it about the file format, and I actually go as far as telling it what the column titles are, and I recommend doing that. It just helps it do its job better. So answer those questions, and this is the summary of all the information it has. And then basically, if everything is clear, you can upload the spreadsheet. Once I receive the file, I'll begin the analysis and keep you updated as I progress. Let me know if there's anything else. I uploaded my Excel sheet, and I told it, use advanced data analysis to conduct the analysis on the attached file. So it runs the analysis, and it spits out this downloadable spreadsheet of itself so you can see the analysis. But we're going to keep moving on, and we're going to ask it some pretty interesting questions. So first question, can you include the most used adjectives and adverbs? Also include most frequently used words. Excludes words like the, and, or, it, etc. And here we have it. It very quickly, in like a minute, does something that would take us days. It identified the most frequently used words. So in this case, for this product, it was watch, box, quality, case, display, drawer, gift, great, nice, and well. It identified the most commonly used adjectives, quality, display, sturdy, happy, and so on, and also the most used adverbs, highly, definitely, absolutely, nicely, beautifully, perfectly, and so on and so forth. I then went on and further asked it what features are mentioned most, both in positive and negative light. And it spits out this amazing data, which is identifying the features that people talked about the most about your product. In this case, it is quality, design, storage, functionality, gift, and price. Now you guys have all of the information that you need to optimize your product listing using the words that your own customers use and the features that they prioritize the most. So what you need to do is take those adjectives and adverbs and talk about these features in the way that your customers would talk about. You will psychologically connect with them far better, and as the data shows from all those studies, increase their likelihood of buying and buying more.
We now have all pieces of the puzzle on actually writing the title and bullet point copy. We're going to create copy that incorporates the most important keywords, customer languages, and answers the most common customer questions and concerns to create the most optimized listing on Amazon. And of course, we're going to use ChatGPT to do this in the best written way possible. Let's get into it here. Next to pictures, the title and bullet points are the most important thing on a listing. I'm going to give you a walkthrough on how to create the most effective title and bullet points. And to make them hyper effective, we're going to incorporate keywords for optimal organic ranking, answer questions suggested by Amazon AI, aka Rufus. And also, as a bonus, since I've never seen any other YouTube channel or Amazon course teach this, we're going to incorporate the language that our customers use to describe the product we are selling. And of course, we're going to leverage ChatGPT for all of this. So we're going to use ChatGPT, and before I get to the prompt, I'm going to create a Word document that will contain information that ChatGPT will use. For the title, I have examples of the highest organic ranking products, keywords of the highest organic ranking products, and the most frequently used words from a sentiment analysis of competitor product reviews. As for how to get the sentiment analysis, I have a whole video on that, and I will link that in the end screen that you can refer to. To get this information, go to Amazon and type in your product's root keyword. For me, I would just go to Amazon.com, and because I'm selling a watch case, my root keyword is watch case. And basically, any of the highest organic ranking keywords, I would just copy and paste into my document the root keyword. And these are the title examples that ChatGPT can refer to, so it knows that this is the kind of title that it's trying to make for your Amazon listing. Now, the next thing is the keywords. To get the keywords, you need to have Helium 10 or Jungle Scout. Either works, or anything that's similar to that. And basically, what we're going to do is take the highest ranking product's ASIN and paste it into the Keyword Scout to get all their keywords. So for example, since this is the highest ranking keyword, I'm going to grab ASIN, which is this guy right here. And then we're going to go to Jungle Scout. We're going to go to Keyword Scout. I'm going to paste it in here, and boom. And there we have it. These are all the keywords that this product ranks for. And what we want to do is just select them all. It takes a little bit of time because there's so many. So we select it all, and we're going to add them to keyword list. Okay. I already have a keyword list. I'm not going to recreate it, but basically it's just a list of saved keywords. Then we go to our keyword lists, and I have the watch box right here. And basically what we want to do is download the CSV. And when you have the CSV, you'll have a list of all the keywords that your competitors have ranked for. And what we want to do now is copy and paste all of these keywords. Actually, a quick way to do this is click the top rank keyword and press Control Shift down or Command Shift down if you are on a Mac, and copy them all. And what we want to do is delete some of the duplicate keywords that are in there. So remove duplicate words, just Google that, and then you'll get this website, tracemyip.org. And all we want to do is copy and paste all the keywords that we had. Then we click this and boom, we have literally a list of keywords that we can now paste into our document. And the whole point of this was to remove the duplicate keywords so that we're not like repeating them unnecessarily. And what we want to do is copy and paste them here. I've already done that. When you copy and paste them in, just recognize that you're going to have to erase some of the keywords. Just go through it manually to make sure that you have the right ones. For example, the ones I just copied and pasted. As you can see, there's a couple of Spanish words involved that I would get rid of. Rothwell is one of my competing brands, so I would get rid of that as well. And some of the typos like organizes a door. I think what they're trying to say here is organizer, but you guys get the idea. Manually go through all the keywords, erase the ones that are not relevant in a different language, competing brand name, or spelling mistakes, and just get rid of those and keep the ones that are relevant to your product and are of course spelled properly. Then we have the sentiment analysis. I, again, have a whole video on how to actually get these sentiment words, but they're super helpful because these are the words that our customers use for our competing products, right? These are the most frequently used words for my products, or my product category rather, right? The most adjectives, most adverbs, and the whole point is this a bit of a psychological trick to use their verbiage on our product listing so that it kind of resonates with them more and connects with them more because we're speaking the same language quite literally. Now, moving on to ChatGPT and what to do with that document and that information. If you like this kind of content, guys, make sure you like and subscribe. Okay, so this is the prompt I use. I also have created a document that has these prompts that I use and breaks down the components of the prompt that are most important so that you can modify it to your own brand and engineer it to your product. So this is the prompt. Hello, I will need your help to create title, description, and bullet points for an Amazon listing of my product and brand. My brand name is Bardane, as you know from our previous chats. Product is a watch case. We need to create a compelling title that highlights the value and use case of the product. The title must be 200 characters long and must start with my brand name. I've attached a document that has example titles of my competitors' listing, a list of keywords to incorporate into the listing, and a sentiment analysis of competitors' listing reviews to identify the language most commonly used by competitors' customers. We will create the title, bullet points, and description one at a time. Please review the attached file and tell me if you understand it. We will start with the title, but before you create the title, is there any more information you need from me to do your job better? So this last sentence right here, is there any more information you need from me to do your job better, is one of the best ChatGPT hacks I can give anybody. Basically, ChatGPT will ask questions to do its job better, quite literally, right? And we've already dragged and dropped the document that we just created. As you can see right here, it's attached and it can review it on all that information that we included in it. But this last sentence, I could not emphasize how important that is because I'll show you right now. It's reviewed the document and these are the questions that it's asking. Before we begin crafting the title, I'd love to clarify a few things so we can make this as strong as possible. It asks me my product details. How many slots does my watch case have? Does it include a drawer or any other compartments? Is the lid glass, tempered or not? What color finish? So on and so forth. What is the brand voice and positioning? Should we go for a more refined luxury or more of a functional value-driven tone? Any phrases or emotions you want to include, and so on and so forth. So ChatGPT asked me a bunch of questions to make the most powerful title possible. And that is so important because it obviously has a database that far beyond exceeds our own brains and it can refer to so many marketing expertises that we can't. So in response to all of those questions, I just went down and answered them. I also attached pictures of my product, and that's something that kind of new 4.0 ChatGPT can do. It can review pictures and see them and understand what things are. So I just went down the questions that it asked and answered them. I'm not going to go through them all, but I did ask before generating your response any other questions. So I keep doing this until it agrees with me that it no longer has any more questions. And what basically it said was, perfect, that gives me everything I need. Thanks for the detailed info. And then it summarizes all of the information that it knows so far based on what I've given it. And then it gives me the title. So this is the title that it gave me. Bardane 6-lot watch box for men, premium wooden watch display case with tilted glass lid, luxury black pine watch holder organizer for dresser, giftable men's jewelry storage case. So that's its first iteration. As you can see, the format is very simple, or very similar to our competitor products. You have this one that starts off with the same format. It's the brand name first, then the product, and then more details about the product. Now, this is just the first iteration, right? It's important that you have to modify it with your own knowledge to make sure it's actually relevant. For example, before moving on, let's review and refine the title. I noticed that you stated premium wooden watch and later on luxury black pine. What if we switch the words premium and luxury in the order that they appear in the title? How would that change the sentiment of the title and perception of the product? Basically, I didn't like that it said premium wooden watch and then luxury black pine later. For me, I feel that luxury is a more emotional connection and premium is more of a kind of a functional connection. And people buy based off emotions, not functional, logical decisions. It's just the way we're wired. Don't know, but it basically explains what I asked it, right? Premium, practical refinement, quality, elevated but not exclusive. Luxury, emotional appeal, exclusivity, high status. So it understood what my problem with its first iteration of the title was. And then it does a revised title. Bardane 6-slot watch box, luxury black pine watch display case with tilted tempered glass lid, premium watch holder, organizer for a dresser, giftable men's jewelry storage case. I like this so much better than the first iteration, and I even want to refine it further. In this category of product, watch case is the most searched key term. It's important we do not keyword stuff, meaning no need to redundantly repeat keywords, as duplicates add no additional value. That said, since watch case is the most searched term, perhaps we should state 6-slot watch case and have watch box later in the title. Thoughts? And it's a bit of a yes man, I'm not gonna lie. ChatGPT, excellent point, you're absolutely right, and so on and so forth. And then it does another refined version. And I basically keep refining this title to make sure that we have ultimately what is the actual title of my product, which is Bardane 6-slot watch case for men, luxury black pine display case with tilted tempered glass lid, premium watch box organizer for dresser, and giftable holder for watch collection showcase. And there you have it. We have a perfect title for our product that has all of the elements incorporated, and it didn't even take that long. I mean, sure, it took some time to get all of the examples, all of the keywords and all that stuff, but it saved us so much time from actually having to think of this all by ourselves, and it's probably worded better than what we can do unless you guys are already super experts in marketing and language use. I certainly am not, and that's why ChatGPT was so helpful. Now, moving on to the bullet points. Okay. So here we are. Let's get to the bullet points. We're going to do very similar, the same process. We're going to create a document with some information, and then we're also going to go over the prompt. But this time I'm going to start with the prompt first. Okay, yes, let's move on to the bullet points now. Will be slightly more involved and challenging. It's important we highlight the value, positioning, customer perception, product features, and answer common customer questions. I've attached a document that provides examples of my competitor listings bullet points. The same document is a sentiment analysis of most common words used by the customers of my competitors. It's very important we incorporate these into the listing so our language resonates with customers' language. And the last component is a set of questions suggested by Rufus, Amazon's AI companion available to users. These are the most common questions asked by customers. Since Rufus suggests products to consumers, we need to ensure these are answered. There may be some duplicates. Please consider them as one question. We need 5 bullet points. Please keep them as short as possible without compromising the efficacy. Before generating the bullet points, do you have any questions to do your job better? Again, ask the exact same question. Always do that, no matter what you're prompting ChatGPT to do. And as for the document I gave it, let's get into that now. So here we are. Very similar to the first, for the title, the first document, I went into the listing of my highest organic ranked competitors and basically copied and pasted the bullet points that they had here. Okay, so for example, we went to this watch case. This is the highest organic ranking watch case, and I just literally copied and pasted that into here. And this is for a reference point for ChatGPT to understand what the bullet points are supposed to look like, what kind of stuff they talk about, things like that. So I have 3 examples of bullet points from 3 different competitors that are highly organic ranked. Okay, then I went to the sentiment analysis of customer reviews. Once again, these are the words most commonly used by the customers of my competitors' listings, right? Most commonly used adjective, most commonly used adverbs, and I want ChatGPT to incorporate these words into my listing so that it sounds like we're talking about the same thing in the same way. We're just resonating on the same wavelength with the same language, right? Once again, I have a video on how I actually got all these words at the end. You can check that out. And lastly, the Rufus suggested questions. Okay, now this is really important. Rufus is Amazon's AI assistant. You can go to any page and scroll down and ask AI questions about the product. It also suggests questions, and I'll show you right here. So here's my competitor's listing, and if we scroll down, as you can see, it says ask Rufus. This is also available on mobile. And then Rufus suggests questions to ask. Can its pillows accommodate oversized watches? Does the glass lid prevent dust accumulation? Is it suitable for storing jewelry besides watches? And then you can go to ask something else, and it has even more questions that it suggests. Now, all of these questions that Rufus is suggesting is actually completely based on what customers have asked already in maybe the reviews section. And if you were on Amazon before Rufus, there was actually a whole customer Q&A section where customers, very much like a forum, ask questions about the product. Amazon basically got rid of the whole Q&A thing and added Rufus instead. But all these questions are farmed from the Q&A, so you know that customers ask these kind of questions, and thus you want to answer these questions in your bullet points. And this is also super helpful not only for the customer but for you, because Rufus suggests products to customers. And if these questions are answered, then Rufus has a lot more to retrieve from to give customers what they're looking for and suggest your product, and thus ideally result in sales. And basically what we want to do is copy and paste all of these. You can literally just copy and paste them into your document. Now, I've already done it, but I can show you what it looks like. Boom, done. Easy peasy. And then we save this and then we go to ChatGPT and we attach it to the prompt that I had read out earlier and press enter and let it do its magic. Perfect. Thanks for laying that out so clearly. Here's a quick summary of how I'll approach crafting the 5 bullet points, and this is ChatGPT talking to me in its infinite wisdom. It goes over the strategy, which is basically everything I've told it, and then it generates final bullet points. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but there's an error that ChatGPT did here. Generated the final bullet points, but what did I ask it at the end of my prompt? Before generating the bullet points, do you have any questions to do your job better? It didn't ask me questions. So then when we go into the final bullet points, it makes a lot of errors. The main error that I noticed, first of all, is crafted for larger watches. It doesn't know if my product is crafted for larger watches because I didn't give it its specifications on the size or the width or anything like that. So how would it know? It should have asked me that question. And I call it out for that too. You did not ask me any questions about the product to be able to answer the oversized watches fit. Perhaps not enough was considered to create these bullet points. And then ChatGPT, in a weird way, apologizes. It says, you're absolutely right, and I appreciate you holding the standard high. So weird, you're like talking to an AI machine, but that's neither here nor there. Nonetheless, let's fix that up properly, and then it goes on to ask me questions, clarifying questions. Watch size compatibility, interior details, build quality and finish, tempered glass lid, security features, packaging, and gifting. And ultimately, what I do is go through all of these questions and answer them appropriately. Interior details. Interior is made of a soft black felt. Pillows are removable, soft yet firm. The entire interior is scratch avoidant altogether, which is very important when you're putting watches in something like that. And there we go. Any other questions, always ask it that. Perfect. That's exactly the level of detail I needed. With that clarity, I'll now craft 5 refined bullet points that do the following: highlight the true product features, address Rufus suggested questions naturally, reflect real customer language, very important, maintain a refined luxury tone consistent with Bardane, which is my brand, and are short but high impact. So that's the length of the bullet points. And here we have it. We have the final bullet points for Bardane's watch case. Now, for me, it's not final because I want to go into it and refine it. I want it to be very perfect, very specific to what I'm going for, right? So it gives me all these bullet points, and I read them and I respond to it and I say, it's not bad, but I think we can make this a bit better. Ensure we really incorporate the gifting element into this. For example, it didn't really talk about the gifts, and I think my product is an excellent gift product. All of my competitors really promote it as such, which is very important. We get in on that too. So I wanted it to really promote that in the bullet points. And I get into specifics and what kind of days it can be used for as a gift. For example, Father's Day, birthdays, graduation, Christmas, and so on and so forth. I will change the bullet points based on the nearest seasonal holiday. And then it goes on, does that as well. Creates a new set of bullet points, a display of success, crafted for larger watches. Tempered glass, dust-free clarity, luxury gifting made easy, timeless materials built to last. Okay, not bad, but I still don't like it fully. All right, one of the titles is crafted for larger watches. Yeah, it can do larger watches, meaning 50 millimeters. And if you're not a watch person, that's a pretty big watch. That's like 50 millimeters like this way on your wrist. So it's pretty big. Anyways, I didn't specifically make this watch case for that though. So I wanted to get rid of that. One of the titles is crafted for larger watches. I think we can swap this title as a scratch-free interior within the expansion of this bullet point to describe the larger fit of the watches. And the whole point of this was the better thing that I wanted to promote is that the interior is super soft and it won't scratch your watches. And then within that bullet point, we can also talk about how you can fit up to 50 millimeter watches, okay? And that's what we came up with. Scratch-free interior with room to fit. Much better, because I think it's emphasizing a feature that is much more prioritized by customers than the size of the watches, because most people don't have larger than 50 millimeter faces anyways. Most people are kind of around the 40 to 44 range, 45 range, or smaller than that if they're women. And then I go down further, I don't need to go through all of this in full detail because it's basically me refining it based on what I value in the product, what customers value in the product, and what I know is valued by the market in general. And eventually we get to the final bullet points, which I've got here. A watch case that tells your story, scratch-free interior with room to fit, tempered glass display lid, gift-ready luxury packaging, I love that one, and crafted luxury in real pine wood, emphasizing the quality of the product. And then I told it to obviously do a checklist. Did it hit every requirement that I had? And it checked them off, and there we have it. And the last bit is the product description as well. Honestly, most people don't read the product description, so I'm not really going to get into that, but basically I Googled Amazon product description, and then Google's own AI tells me how to make a proper Amazon description, and I just literally copied and pasted that into my ChatGPT and told it to make me a product description, and I effectively copied and pasted that in my listing. But there you have it, guys, and that's how you can create the best title, the best product listing, bullet points, and the description using ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an endless amount of information at your fingertips that no one's ever had before, and we've also included our customer's language, which also leverages ChatGPT, and you'll find that out in the video that I've linked in the end screen that I highly recommend that you look over to get that kind of language.
And there you have it, guys. A full depth, detailed guide on how to create listings that are optimized for 2025 Amazon.
I know it feels complicated, but incorporating all of these will give you a massive advantage over your competitors. I really hope that was helpful and will improve your selling. If you're looking to scale higher with your products, we can work directly to really take your brand to the next level like this. If you're an Amazon seller that wants to grow your Amazon profits, schedule a discovery call in the link below. We are an Amazon agency that helps our clients grow their revenue and their profits and optimize their PPC. And that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful. I want you guys to be successful and you're listening to be up to date with all of the modern technologies and AI incorporations that Amazon is doing to their platform. It's going to be a better experience for sellers and customers alike. We just got to stay ahead of the curve. But until next time, guys, happy selling.